Every choice you make in your life is a building block. This thought has occurred to me recently as I've started a new job. Go outside, boys. Dogs, I want to go outside. So this thought has occurred to me recently as I've started a new job, as I've been offered other opportunities on the side, and where it all sort of leads to at the end of the day is, where do you want to go in your life, right? Are you happy on the path you're on? Are you happy with your relationships, where you're at financially speaking? Are you happy with where you're at in your health and your fitness? Every single day is an opportunity to change that. So it seems, for many of us, like the days blend together rapidly because you're doing the same thing at your job. It's a little bit monotonous. You get home, maybe you're single, maybe you have a significant other, right, who you spend time with, and you guys just roll your phones together. Maybe you find time for the gym, maybe you don't. I haven't been finding a lot of time for the gym lately. But every day is a building block towards that life that you're actually looking for. So if you decide that you want to focus, I'm doing things around the house right now, I'm building my day, right? But if you make choices that support the life you want, then you're going to be happier for it. A lot of people, if every day is building block, they're just putting blocks all over the place, like a Lego mess on the ground. They're not actually building towards something they want, right? So yesterday, cleaned the kitchen, but I like to be outside in the yard, and so do the dogs. So putting this towel here, that's a building block to my success, so that the kitchen doesn't need to be cleaned again immediately, right? Making a pot of coffee for myself in here, and the coffee it's roaring, and I made too much for one cup, right? Because I want to sip a cup while I'm filming this YouTube video here, as I traditionally do, but also I want to have more left over for work. And then at work, when it's monotonous and it's a lot of difficult conversations or stuff you don't want to do, or it's a rough day, you think, why am I here? And if the job that you're working in is not a job that actually gets you where you want to get to, then you can evaluate, okay, what am I building towards, and am I actually getting there? So when it comes to, building something valuable in life, what you want to be up to is picking what you want first, right? Do you want a nice house, or could you care less? Do you want a cabin in the woods? Do you want to be single, or do you want to, have like, I'm a man, I want a wife and a family, right? So is that a goal of yours? Do you have any specific fitness goals in mind? See, nice. They're hopping on the towel. Makes my life a lot easier, even if it's not perfect. But do you have any specific fitness goals in mind, right, that you want to get to? Some people find it hard to get in the gym, then suddenly they're training for, that Hyrox BS, or like a marathon or something, and it makes it a lot easier for them to focus, because they know, okay, at the end of the tunnel, I got this marathon. All right, time to enjoy the cup. Then we're gonna get outside. By the way, it's kind of coffee maker, Mr. Coffee, not sponsored, right? But I'm in the office last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever, and this kid, nice guy, he's like, I don't know how to use a coffee pot. What's happened to this country that we no longer know how to use coffee pots, right? So as I pour this out, because we used to be a culture of coffee pots and cigarettes at the office, working in sales. That was like that movie, God, why can't I think of the movie with Alec Baldwin? First place, new car. Second place, set of steak knives. Third place, you're fired. Whatever. Glengarry Glen Ross, I think, was the name of the movie. Anyways, we used to be a coffee pot culture. What you got to do on the old-fashioned pot ones, this for the youngins at home, is you put the coffee grounds into the top of it, and then you pour water thereabouts. I'd say about 1 scoop to 1 cup, depending on the strength of the coffee. And then boom, you got yourself a nice pot of coffee brewed, right? But going back towards it, and that's just general life knowledge for the kids back home, but every day should be an intentional building block. So you got to pick where you want to get to. If you want to train for something, great. If you're not the kind of person who needs something to train towards, I still recommend having a goal in mind. I want to be able to to bench 225, right? That was a big one for me for a while. Is I want to be able to bench press 225 pounds, even though 225 is a somewhat arbitrary number. You know, it's 2 plates on your standard, bench press machine. So it's a nice good number to aim for, because okay, 2 plates is 2 of the big plates, and then boom, if I can bench that, I'm a beast. Once I hit that, I actually failed to set another goal, and then my gymming, it's fallen off considerably since then. So kind of in my life, that's an example of the importance of goals. This page, I've been analyzing a lot of YouTubers I like. There's some who do an extremely just good job with it. Well, I like them, so I all these people, they do a good job with the videos themselves. But what's impressed me about some of these channels that I enjoy is that they just posted for literally years in a lot of cases before gaining any significant traction. So figure if I want to make this a page in those styles, then what I'm gonna have to do is just post for years in order to achieve that goal in that same style, right? So it's a clear goal, clear expectation, and then the actions follow. I can use a piece of today, a slice of today as a building block to get to having, a larger YouTube channel where hopefully I get to spread, wisdom or take you guys on adventure videos is really what I want to do. And I haven't been doing a good job of that, but that would be really cool, right? Just videos where I can talk to the camera and do all this. So this is a building block for that. It's a sounding board. It's testing for that. When I go to work later today, I'm gonna make a bunch of calls to people, and I'm gonna take a bunch of calls from people. And the ultimate goal of all of this, of course, is that I'm going to eventually make a good bit of money. And through making a good bit of money, I'm going to be able to better support myself and my beautiful girlfriend, soon-to-be fiance. So, and our family one day, right? So when I'm at work, it's a building block towards all that. I'm also lucky enough that I work with people who are previously already my friends. So it's a chance for me to, maintain strong friendships, relationships, etc. It's also a chance for me to help other people as far as, making them better at their jobs or helping them out or whatever. So if my goals are to be someone with strong relationships, who's financially secure, who has a creative project such as YouTube to work on, and who's in good shape, then every day, just needs to mix in some components of all these things: relationships, health, wealth, and general benefit of others. And so with that at the top of the mind, it's difficult to be directionless, right? I saw actually a really great quote the other day, is that when you wake up with no structure, you have to renegotiate every day from scratch. It's kind of the same when you have no goals. A little bit different, but you have to renegotiate every day from scratch, because you have no idea what you're going to be up to. You have no idea what you even want to be up to. A lot of times you'll pick short-term pleasurable options like drinking on the beach rather than something that you actually feel strongly about and want to build towards. And that's what happens when there's actually nothing, when you don't view your days as a building block because you have nothing to build towards. Your days just kind of sprawl out into the wind, and they're gone and they never come back, right? That's when you start getting into these short-term decision-making cycles that really are a net negative for you and for what you can accomplish. Even if you're not like a accomplishment-oriented person. What if you're a priest, right? A man of God, and you don't want wealth, and you're never going to be married, and that's kind of your life? Well, every day is a building block in your relationship to God and spreading God to the world, right? That's the case if that's your devotion. So no matter what you want, hell, even if it's the stupidest thing, honestly, I actually have a lot of respect for it. Like, the Hunter S. Thompsons of the world. Yeah, he was a writer, so I guess that was a piece of the building block. But like, the guy just loved doing drugs and just did a ton of drugs. But at least he was building towards something on the way, because he wanted to be a writer. It's not even the perfect example. I guess another example we have is like Dan Bilzerian, who from what I understand wanted to be famous for just like spending time around hot women, and I'll leave it at that. And like playing poker. It's like you've dedicated your life to these completely hedonistic pursuits, but I fucking know the guy's name and I've never met him. So it worked, right? He actually dedicated, like, he wanted the fame and notoriety of being a guy who, was known for that, and it was achieved because he was actively building towards it. There was intentional building towards it. There was a negotiation with oneself to be like, where do I want to be in 10 years? I want to be doing that. And then he actually went after it. So it's not to say it's definitely that every famous person is a good example, but I guarantee you that the ones that got there are people who are extremely intentional about how they spend their time each and every day in each and every moment. Because time just elapses otherwise. You ever notice how quickly days go by? The days they can be long. You can have a long day or a short day, but then you look back on the week and it's like, holy cow, where did that go? It's really something. It's really something. So when you keep in mind just how much of a blur the world can be if you're not being intentional, then it makes it all the more important to pick a goal and sprint towards it and use every day, every moment as an experience that's going to get you there, right? Because now with every day as a building block, not every day is going to feel like one. There's no question about that. A lot of days may feel like setbacks, and some days may actually be setbacks, even if you're working towards the right goals. But you use it as a learning experience, and you move through it. And you power and you make it happen. So that's been my spew for the day. I got to get ready. I got to go to the office because I have other domains and areas of my life to build. But it was an interesting thought that popped into my head this morning as I was doing the dishes, keeping the home clean for later. That's my responsibility. Not the cleaning of the house in general, but the dishes. I don't mind. It's meditative. I made a video about this the other week. You can check it out if you want. How doing like manual labor just like eases the mind after a long day. 100% true. Even before a long day, I love just getting lost, like doing something with my hands. Anyways, treat your day as a building block. If you don't have any goals, get out a pen and paper and pick whatever comes to your mind. Honestly, don't really matter. I always recommend picking goals that are achievable. You don't want to pick a stupid goal that you feel like you're never getting any closer towards. But if it's something that you can make progress towards every day, you can set a short-term goal and a long-term goal and treat every day as as a building block to get there. That's the way it is.